It can be hard to understand what it means to be a trans girl, especially if you never met a trans girl before. And it's common to have a lot of questions. But I hope that what we can all agree on today is that trans kids should be treated with the same dignity, respect, like everyone else. That they are to be treated the same way that we want to be treated. Kids learn an awful lot of important lessons in sports. They learn leadership and confidence, self-respect, and what it means to be part of a team. Trans kids, they just want an opportunity to play sports for the same reason that other kids want to just be a part of a team where they belong. The very fact is that 99.9% of all of our kids that play sports never do it to compete in some kind of an elite kind of sport. The overwhelming majority of trans youth, like most kids, they just want to play and participate in everyday school activities. This bill relies on overbroad stereotypes about trans girls and women's bodies. All athletes' bodies are different. And these differences can be both advantageous or disadvantageous, depending on the sport. Similarly, trans girl athletes do not have a single body type, and they do not automatically have advantages over a cisgender athlete. Trans youth, like other students, deserve the same chance to learn teamwork, sportsmanship, leadership, and to build a sense of belonging with their peers. When we tell trans girls that they can't play girls' sports, they miss out on these very important experiences in their lifetime. I want to talk just a little bit about a mom. Her name is Tiffany. She lives in Decorah. She's got a 15-year-old daughter who is a trans girl. She plays in school sports, and she is worried about her daughter's mental health if this bill passes. And her mom says at this age, all the kids want to do is try to fit in. And sometimes it's really hard to fit in. And then when you're being kicked out of a sport because you don't meet the criteria, you feel really isolated from your peers. Now, this is Tiffany's 15-year-old daughter who also had a comment about what we're doing here today. She does participate in track, volleyball, and bowling. And she does it to have a good time with her friends. If this bill passes, her daughter said, "I'm not here to take anybody's medals or records away. I'm just here to have fun and live my life." I listened to Senator Carlin mention these time-honored boundaries. You know, there have been time-honored boundaries throughout the history of our society. And those time-honored boundaries held people back. They held women back. They held people of color back. They held people with intellectual disabilities back. They had people with mental illness back. They have held people who were gay back. And now we're going to have transgender. So I want to talk to you about a minute or two about being the mom of a child who didn't fit in. She didn't be able to accomplish all the criteria that society may have expected. In fact, there was a time when children like my daughter were locked away. They were locked away. They didn't quite fit in. They were a little bit different. And the school doors were closed to them. And by God, it was parents who stood up for the rights of their children. In the 1970s, the federal government finally recognized these children as an important part of our society. The school doors were opened. The windows were open. And today, those children not only attend school with every other child, but we now embrace them and welcome them into our human family. And I can tell you right here and now, I learned more from that child than anyone else in this room could ever teach me, or any other human being I've ever met in my life. Because she taught me what the real value of life is about. It's not about judging. It's not about condemning. It's about loving one another for who we are. When Sarah was a little girl, we had her down in the plaza, and she had just learned to walk. She was 4 years old. She finally did it and said, this child's going to walk. She broke away from us, and there was a homeless man sitting on a bench. A man that most of us probably would have skirted around and tried to ignore, didn't want to look at him. Sarah ran up to the man and hugged him. It was November, it was cold out. He had plastic bags around his feet. He didn't have shoes. So her dad took this man into the shoe store and bought him a pair of boots for the winter. Now you tell me, we do not understand all of this today, but I know our history is stained with these artificial boundaries that we set up. And as time goes on and we start to understand more and more of this, we open our hearts and our minds and we become a more inclusive society. We become a better people. I ask you to reject this bill. This is not the Iowa that I love and know. This is not it.